Hi everyone! I am back with another What's New in YA video, and I am excited to tell you about 5 new teen books you can find at the Stanton Public Library. Now, I'm kind of breaking a rule for this first book talk because I'm going to show you the new book, which is book 3 in a series, which doesn't really help if you haven't read book 1 or book 2, but I love the series so much that I'm going to tell you about book 1, even though I'm going to show you book 3. All right, here it is. Here's the new volume of the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson called Cytonic. This is the new book, book 3. I think there's going to be 4 books total. And this cover is beautiful, but I will tell you that the main character, Spencer, spends this whole book like covered in dirt and grime, unshowered, hair totally a mess, bruised with scrapes and cuts. So I don't know what this illustration is from, but it's pretty. So let me spend some time telling you about book 1 in the Skyward series. The main character of the Skyward series is Spencer. She lives on this dusty, barren planet that is mostly made up of caves and everyone lives underground. It's occupied by humans, but they are trapped on this planet by an alien race called the Krell. And they do have a huge military base that's basically trying to protect the humans against the Krell, but also try to figure out a way off of the planet. And Spencer wants to be in the military. She wants to train to be a fighter pilot like her dad. Unfortunately, her dad, who was once a very well-respected pilot, is now considered a traitor. I won't tell you why, you'll have to find out. And not a lot of people like Spencer. But she does end up in the flight school. There are a lot of things that happen after that, but I just kind of want to get you started with the story. All you need to know to start is that there are great characters, great, lovable secondary characters. There's a ton of great action if you like stuff like Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy, where people are flying fighter planes or spaceships. You're really gonna like this. I also think if you prefer to read things that don't have language or sex or other kind of edgy themes or scenes, this is a great book. I don't think anyone would find it offensive. I think you would find it incredibly exciting. And the second one takes off in a completely different direction. You're going to meet aliens, there's AI, there's robots. It's so cool. Next up, we have the debut verse novel from Elizabeth Velasquez called When We Make It. This is about an 8th grader named Sarai. She lives in Brooklyn in the 1990s, and her family lives in poverty. And a lot of the story is about her from ages 13 to 16, dealing with living in this rough neighborhood and really having no money. And it's also about all of the things that teenagers deal with. Friends, family, the church, trying to figure out what to do with your future. And it's pretty heart-wrenching and emotional, but it's also really beautifully told. It is in poetry, and I'll show you. It's pretty big font. There's not a ton of text on each page, and each poem is only about 1 to 2 pages, so the story moves fairly quickly. I think if you are a fan of Elizabeth Acevedo and The Poet X, or if you liked Gabby, A Girl in Pieces, or even The House on Mango Street, When We Make It is a great choice for you. Our next new book is The Upper World by Femi Faduba. This has recently been optioned by Netflix, either to be a movie or a series, I'm not sure. And the producer is Daniel Kaluuya, who was in Get Out and Black Panther. So I think it's going to be really exciting and excellent. This is a sci-fi kind of time travel multiverse book, and it's set in kind of these gritty parts of London. The main character is a boy named Esso, who finds out that after a car accident, he can see the future. And it's also about a girl named Rhea who 15 years later meets up with an adult Esso. It's very much a race against time book. There's like math and quantum mechanics and physics. It's definitely not like wildly accurate, so if you're looking for kind of those like hard facts, this is a lot more fun. It's definitely a little dark, but very exciting and fast-paced. If you like sci-fi, but you want to kind of have it be rooted also in flawed characters, in real places, The Upper World is great. It's kind of been described as a mashup of Jason Reynolds and Neil Shusterman, which is just Let's talk about the latest book from Mercedes Lackey. She is a legendary fantasy writer. She writes mostly for adults, but has some teen books. And this is Briar Heart. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And in this version, we're following the half-sister of Aurora. Her name is Miriam. And she is not the heir to the throne, but she is kind of the protective older sister. And on the day when, in this story, the Dark Fae comes to Aurora's christening to curse her, Miriam discovers that she has some pretty amazing powers of her own. I think if you're looking for something that's kind of a step between the Descendants novels, so like those middle grade kind of Disney villain stories, and some of the darker YA fantasies that we have, this is kind of right in the middle. It's light and interesting, but you still kind of get the twists and turns of a fairy tale retelling. I would definitely check it out if you're into fantasy and fairy tales. The last book for today is Sleeping Around by Morgan Vega, and this is really cool because Vega is a self-published author. This is her debut, and she is local. She went to Bridgewater and JMU, so it's really cool to feature her book. This story has been compared a little bit to Nina LaCour and Rainbow Royale, that kind of emotional, relatable, realistic fiction. This story is about a girl named Corey who has grown up in foster care and is finally heading to college, and she's planning on being in the music program you can see here, and she's got her little music tattoo. But when she gets to school, she finds out that not only has she actually not officially been accepted to the music program, but she's also not on the list of dorm occupants. So she ends up bunking with these random people and then these roommates that don't work out, and through a whole bunch of circumstances, she finds herself without a place to live, but on campus. And so she ends up sleeping around campus. But how can you even do class or like have a life when you don't actually have a place to sleep? And so the story is funny. They're really interesting characters. There's a little bit of romance. It's also about family. There's a really great kind of cast of open-minded, kind of queer and diverse people. And it really reminds me of that freshman year of college, but of course Corey's situation is pretty extreme. I hope that you'll give this a chance and tell me what you think, and hopefully we'll be hearing more from Morgan Vega in the future. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I will be back next month with more new selections from the Stanton Public Library. If you need recommendations until then, you can DM us, you can send us an email, you can call us. We have a request form and a surprise me and readers advisory lists on our website, so be sure to check all of those out. I'll see you next time. Bye.